Cushman's giving us a few shirts to raffle off. Also, we've got a couple of software-defined little radios that we're going to be giving away also. And on those SDRs, if you get one, if you're not going to use it, pass it on to somebody that will. It takes a pretty powerful computer to keep those things going right. So if you got that type of hardware, use it, enjoy, all right? The other thing I want to talk about is that, as you know, this is more or less turned out to be a fraternal organization. And to be a fraternal organization, we have to fraternize. And once a year isn't good enough, right? So last winter, Mark and Gene tried something different. We tried getting together. And we went up to the Henry Ford Museum and we had one hell of a day up there. It was a lot of fun. I'd like to hear from you guys, any ideas in this area. We got guys coming in from, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, all over. Then we can meet up at least once a year someplace else during the winter months, get rid of the camping fever, and kind of enjoy each other's company again. So I'd like to see that going on, and I'm kind of spearheading that type of idea. So that's about all I got to say. For all of you guys from the alumni, thank you very much, truly, for what you've done in the past. I hope you just appreciate why this happened now and not back then. And that was just because of social media. That's, I guess, basically why we're all sitting here. So, again, thank you all for coming here. I'll pass it back down to Mark.
Real quick, Lowell, the shirts, how you handle the shirts?
Just come see me. Basically, most of you guys have paid, a couple of you haven't. But catch me a little bit, and I'll go back there and we'll square up again.
Now, Tom Trokey asked, if they didn't order a shirt ahead of time, can they now?
What I'm thinking about is, on the shirts, we have to have at least a minimum order of 12. I was just saying maybe around Christmas time we might do it again. If you guys want to do it sooner, we can. It's just a matter of 12 and we go to press, and that's all there is to it.
Now that's this type of shirt,
yeah,
correct?
Right.
All right, how about like the blue Valpotech type shirts? Are those
think,
available?
Nothing, it all has to be made up still.
So, but if somebody wanted to order those, again, it has to have 12.
It has to be about 12 and we go to press.
Now how about the hats? Same thing?
It's about the same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So we could do any of that, but we just have to get a bunch of guys together willing to put up the money to go to press.
And it's not mix and match, it's 12 each.
12 each.
Okay. Any questions on Lowell real quick?
Comments, thoughts, complaints? All right.
This is Steve Sheets. Now, Steve's got a 20-minute dissertation. Step up here. No, actually, he lost his slide rule. It's similar to this. Actually, it's got a belt clip on it, and its name's on the inside. So someplace, either on the grounds, in the building, just kind of walk around a little bit. But wait a minute.
Yeah, I was sitting there. Thank you.
You are.
All right. Billy's getting ready for set up for lunch. Lunch is going to be just shortly. Right out, immediately following lunch, we're going to go right around the corner. We want to do a group picture, and when I say group, it's anybody and everybody. You don't have to be shy. We want as many people as possible to get in that, and then we'll do it quick. I think Gene's got a way. How are we going to figure out who these people are? Are you going to do the mic thing again?
We can do that.
Okay. All right. He'll pass as we're standing up there. He'll pass the mic around, and everybody will say their name. We'll identify. Now, before Gene steps up here, I'm curious. I don't know if everybody knows each other or not. I'm not real good on introductions. Who's been here? This is their first time coming. Oh my, great. All right. Stand up. I know this gentleman. Stand up. Tell me who you are and when you graduated.
Bill Davis. I graduated in January of 1963, and then I graduated again in January of 1973 with my bachelor's degree from here. And I did bring my diploma. It's in the car.
You mean Mr. Wiggins wanted to check it to make sure? Okay. All right.
We'll sign it for you.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay, next. Who else? Somebody else. Who else is new? Yeah.
I'm Paul Reed, 1968. First time in Kentucky.
Where'd you live when you were here, Paul?
I lived in Ennis Hall for a year.
Yeah.
And then I moved off campus because I got married.
Okay. Wanted to get married.
Yeah.
Okay. Bill, I didn't ask you where'd you live when you were here.
Actually, I lived in Memorial Hall for 2 years, and then I lived in about a year and a half. Then I lived in the cottage.
Okay.
Last of the second year. Then I moved off campus here in Valparaiso and moved into a house, and that's where I met my wife. We were married for 49 and a half years. She passed away last October.
Who else? Who's next? Somebody else. Speak up. Don't be shy.
Oh, I can't even hear me.
Look at his shirt. Who else got a shirt like this?
Like me, it's unique. John Coon, 69. When I first came down here, Lowell, and I don't know who else. They're in probably 66. We lived in the
That's right, John. You're right. Yeah. The old Dodge Hall building.
Yes,
The
sir.
old Dodge Great Telegraph.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a hole.
Hey! Nice parties, though.
Yeah, that was a hell of a hole.
We finally got on the campus in Lowell, Steinmetz, and then in Ennis with some terrific guys.
Good. What year? When'd you graduate?
69.
69? Who else? Who's next?
Youngsters.
Bob Molnar, I graduated in 73 with him born.
Okay.
John Bunch, 71. I live in Memorial. Lee Height graduated January 66. Lived in Memorial Hall in the cottages. Perfect.
Who else? Somebody else? Yeah. Noel.
Lowell Moss, I was here from 70 to 72. We lived up Steinmetz building up in Lowell. I told me to move out, so I off campus for a year. I ended up married and building this industry.
Ah, very good. Yes, sir.
I went in our class of 68, and I commuted from North that winter.
Yeah. Who else? Somebody else? Yes.
I'm Randy Kading. I went there only 1 year.
Okay. Well, I kind of gathered that with your shirt. That's a rarity. Who else? Somebody else? Yeah.
Ty Parcher. I was here for one reunion back when Ed Hirschman was alive, and only a couple people showed up and had a bonfire. And that was yes, just one time. I live in Texas now. Anyway, I roomed in the Memorial Hall, and also with John Coon at Steinmetz.
Oh, yeah, no.
Ennis Hall, yeah. And we actually had a phone in there. Yeah, we were. I got a phone installed in there.
What else we had?
I lived there with Tex and graduated in '68.
Okay.
Oh, you lived there with Tex?
Yeah, and then while he was there, and then
I'm surprised there's no stars and bars on the tower.
came back and yeah, that's right. I was there that time. I remember what happened too. To this day, I can tell you the story. Tex decided he was going to hang Mason in effigy, and he went up the tower, and he put a dummy of Mason on the tower about 1/3 of the way up. And then he went all the way to the top and put a rebel flag at the top. And the problem was it snowed that night. And the next day, they went into the operators at WNWI went in and flipped the switch, and the transmitter wouldn't load up, so they called in Wiggins. So he's sitting in there, and he's looking at the transmitter, he's looking around. All of a sudden, he looks out the window, and he sees what's going on out there. And he says, "Oh, it's a damn dummy!" And they're looking at each other like, "Who's the dummy?"
And the snow had piled up behind the dummy and shorted out the two stubs. See, I still remember that story.
And also, if I remember, that was the end of Tex. So he was gone after that.
Well, no, he stuck. They didn't really punish him too badly for that. They took the stuff down and everything.
You don't know 69?
You don't know the answer.
Yeah, about 69.
And me and Pat, when we got through it, we left out.
Oh, really? Is that what did it? I thought it was the girl he got mixed up with.
We had a married guy, his wife was a school teacher. She got a job in the county, and he was a real good student. And before he came to school, he had done tower work. And he and another guy climbed the tower in Fort Wayne, and they were climbing up to do some work. So before they went up, they made a dump. They got up about 300 feet and so the dump went off. And they got up to some people.
Oh, really? Wow.
They said, "Paul, they were watching." They called the police. Almost a federal case.
Not funny at the time.
Who else is new? Dan Loftus.
Yeah. I've been here till 73 and I worked for Motorola in the two-way business from Kankakee, Illinois. So we ran across Market for the Peatone Amfest and we had a good ride too. And Doug, my friend, there's Doug around here. Here, Doug. He came around, so we had a good time there. So glad to see everybody. Gene, it's good to see you, and it's really nice to see everybody and talk to people at the old times. I got some old VTI things. If you guys want to look at these from 57. There's a gentleman, Paul Palermo. I think he graduated in 56 or 57. And I'm an auctioneer. I was doing some stuff for his estate, and I found these in there, and I said, I gotta have these.
Wow.
I gotta have these originally. So if you want to take a look at them, I got some over here.
I met Dan at Peatone. I had a shirt on that said K9Q Valpo Tech on the front. We chit-chat a little bit. This was back a couple of months ago. Last night I'm sitting in this room down here when you go in, and I'm looking at the board with the Valpo Tech PAM Club, and I see this name, Dan Loftus. I thought, what a coincidence that is. So I asked Dan, I said, was that you? And sure enough, so it's a small world.
Yeah, I did something in the ham club back then. I'll never forget this. Gene Wiggins had a thing on there. Loftus, get in my office, PDQ. Boy, I got to butt you in for something I didn't know I did wrong.
Who else? Somebody else? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mike Stuber, graduated in 71. Did whole term, same as all. First on the first floor, almost got kicked out the first day. Nothing I was involved in, but it seemed like the whole dorm, one part of the dorm, I was drowning the first night, doing the deeds of it to make money.
This was in when?
68, that's all 68.
Okay, so that would have been Henry and Inez when they moved up
Henry
there.
and Inez,
Yes.
that was the
Yep.
first year.
Yep.
I didn't stay in that week very long. I moved up to the second floor shortly after that, after having a good discussion with Matt. Hey, look, I had no part of this. You know?
Yep.
Was that the year that the bowling ball went through the wall?
No, I don't believe that was the year, but we had some good times. And I graduated in 71.
Okay. All right. I know there's two gentlemen here.
Yeah. That's Cornette. Class of 67,
And?
I'm Tom Cornette, graduated in 67, and we still didn't have a graduation. And the highlight of the graduation is this man right here.
Yep.
Gave me by the phone. And that meant more to me than if all of the Hurston family would have given it.
What Anybody else? Jump in there, Dan.
Okay. One thing about being in the business for this many years, you get every free subscription of every magazine that you could possibly think of. About a year ago, I got subscribed, and I didn't ask for it, but I'm on the electronic musician. This one showed up at the beginning of August. And an article called Vintage Love. If you look at this picture, that's Bill Putnam.
Yep.
sitting at a console that he designed at United Studios in Chicago. Now he and someone else discovered or set up that company, and he basically got, he was real good with electronics, but he wasn't too good with finances, so he wound up not owning United. So he moved to California and started United Recording Electronics Industries, UREI. At the time that I graduated, Mr. Patton said that he and Bill were going to get together and write a book on recording. And I thought, well, that's pretty good. I want to know when that comes out. Well, it turns out they never did. The sad thing about this article, it's very nice, it tells a lot of the history of this, but it doesn't mention VTI anymore, and that kind of makes me mad.
But I actually did find it on the internet mentioned.
Did you find it mentioned?
Yes.
Okay.
But when I researched Bill Putnam's life, one posting of him out there on the internet mentions he went to VTI.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I have to write the magazine.
He didn't graduate.
And tell him. But it's interesting to see these consoles that he built because, you know, they look an awful lot like what RCA started putting out a couple years later. So,
well,
actually, I got a call when I got out of the service, started working for one of the stations in Indy. Got a call from a guy that just graduated VTI, and he knew Bill or gone to work for him or something. He said a company that UREI bought from LA had put in answering, but I don't know what they call them, but it was like an emergency phone system for medical stuff. But the whole thing is you dial into this phone number and it would be picked up by some low-paid person who would say, yeah, may I help you? And they'd say, yes, I'd like to know about sex or pregnancy or, you know, SDI, you know, whatever.
I think Lowell was one of the best customers.
They would plug in what we in the broadcast called as a cartridge of tape and hit the play button, and it would grab the phone line and play it out. And they were having trouble with it, so he wanted somebody in India who had some clue how to fix these things. I said, well, he said, you graduated from VTI and you live in Indianapolis, would you like the job? And I said, sure. So that helped a little bit raising the family because I got to go down there once a week and clean the heads and everything, and then they designed their own box to replace the one that had been cobbled together by the other company. And so I got to install that. And then somebody figured out how to do it with computers, and they don't need me anymore. So, but it was an interesting thing. It was all based on Bill Putnam. So just thought that was interesting.
Small world, isn't it?
Small world indeed.
Gene, did you want?
I might add a little bit on Bill Putnam. Really personally, he was here before the war and was instrumental in that. He was interested in echo. We went through it, went up to WLOD, Wood Center, what do you call that? I don't even remember the name of the city. But anyway, we went to the radio station. We convinced the owner to let him dig a ditch out beside the studio, a tunnel actually. He dug it and put a speaker in one end and a microphone at the other. And we had the first radio station in the world with echo on it. Then we organized United Audio in Chicago and was in a small studio and doing professional work for RCA and all the other record companies and doing a tremendous business. Still wanted to build a new studio and get into more echo. So we got a loan with them. And the first loan started to build little cubicle like closets and had the walls, none of them parallel, and had speakers hanging in them with a fan blowing on them, speakers blowing all around and a microphone over there, picking it up. About that time, it was burning here. The first man burning hired on up there, and unbeknownst to Bill, he would go to the bank and get more money Bernie was going down and buying the loan. And one day, Bernie, Bill, he said, we got to have a board of directors meeting. Bill said, listen, my company, we have meetings when I have time. He said, no, I own the company now. That's the reason that we went to Los Angeles and set up a new recording studio out there. I don't know the status of the studios in Chicago. Anyway, out of Los Angeles, we set up another studio, a rented building in Reno. Hit the stars at the outcome. Track railroad running right beside the building that was rented. And unfortunately, the new recordings were ruined and had to redo them, and this is big money. These big stars. About this time, another student from Chicago graduated from Lowell, Katz, and hired on to Bill out there. He sent this student down the railroad to the switch building, about a mile away. And Bill bought a mile of wire, and they bootlegged the connection into this switching arrangement. So that when they were going to recording, Bill put in the switch and there were red lights for the trains and both we almost went to prison. And I assume that Bill is dead, according to my age. It's better to be married to a native Indian gal, beautiful gal. So I don't know the status of the mounted audio now.
Lee?
I could add a little bit to that. I wound up working for Bill.
Hey Lee, why don't you grab the mic here? Can't hear you guys. I mean, I'm deaf as all hell. I can't hear you.
I don't want to delay this, but it just, with your story, I wound up working for Bill between my 4th and 5th semester here. Went out and spent the summer, stayed in his home, and he had a very young wife, half his age. And the story I wanted to pick up on is he went ahead and made the echo chambers out of springs, and they were in 4x8 2x4 frames. And every time we were doing a recording, they were so big that he stored the boxes out on the stairway, and you couldn't climb the stairway without rattling the springs. And so, after the band recording, we weren't allowed to climb up the stairs any time of recording because we'd mess up the reverb. So a lot of stories. I don't want to take up time here, but Bill was a real character, a terrific guy to work for, and very innovative. On the studio, we did movable panels, all under remote control to change the decay time in the reverb room. Most of the recording was for Lawrence Welk. He was paying the big bills, and Lawrence was very, not only having a big temper, he was very fussy on how the recording took place, and so we'd have to adjust the reverb time. Just a quick story.
Good story. Gene.
Another solution on that new studio that he built in Chicago, Rob Hirschman's real field was audio. He had his PhD in Class A push-pull amplifiers back in the 20s, and then he did sound consulting, and he designed Studio A up in Chicago, and he made the calculations on the protections and so forth. He had big looking panels hinged on the walls above, about this high up. And one side was a real heavy sound absorbing, and the other side was reflective, and had the entire wall around the studio that way. It was on hinges, and they could put in either sound absorbing or turning around sound reflection. And that's the last consulting job we got.
One last quick, guy told me, and somebody in California asked how do you get in the sound business. First thing he said was don't park in Bill Putnam's parking space.
Mr. Milligan.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming here. It makes it really worth the effort of putting something together. And from there, we'd like to say we are saving a lot of electronics equipment, tons of paperwork, trying to digitize all of it, trying to have a permanent record of things. And if you have any local people who would like to help out with that, I'll leave a sheet out here and we can start talking about it, because it's been very difficult working with people that don't live around here, so constantly just spending all your time on the computer. So if anybody'd be interested in helping digitize or even repairing equipment so it can be used at the museum, please help us.
Hilda, are you ready for us?
We are ready.
All right. Mr. Katz, stand up. It's not Mr. Katz, Master Katz. Anybody that has not paid, if you would see this gentleman right here, he'll fix you up. And at that, don't be shy. Hilda, tell us how this works.
Welcome everybody. I think we just did a count here, and I think you got 40 chairs down here, right? You got 50. So we brought a few more chairs down here, and I'm wondering if where's Ron go? Ron and Aaron? I think we took that table from. Well, we'll figure it out. At any rate, the first 40 are going to get to sit down, and we'll work things out. If you come around to the far side and start where the plates are, help yourselves. Enjoy it.
And you've got drinks over here also?
We do. Yeah. Lemonade, iced tea,